Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today I'm going to be going over a replay. Now I know that I've said many times in the past that I don't really like using replays and well, nothing's changed in that regard. But there is a good reason I'm doing this today. And that's because this replay is actually sent to me by one of my viewers. This is, well, I know him on my streams and on my Discord as Panthergraph. His in-game name, I don't actually know how to pronounce. Asgaia? Yeah, pass. Either way, this is a replay sent to me by a viewer, and I'm going to go over it and sort of partly just do a bit of commentary on it, but also partly I'm intending to sort of say whether I think he made good moves, whether he made bad moves. Of course, I don't know what was going through his head at the time. But I do have a little bit of extra information that he didn't, such as having markers over the players' heads. So for this game he is on Abandoned Factory and he's pushing down very quickly along the water line here. Now someone has marked up this whole reproduction. I did initially wonder how on earth he spotted it, but if you look on the map a bit in advance, someone else has tagged it up with the scouting mechanic, and I can only assume that the missile he fired at it was simply a general area guess to try and see what it was. I personally, in this replay, had no vision at all on it. But he took out its transmission and has chosen to move up and go for a side shot with his main cannon. Now, as I said, I will talk about a few of the things that I think I would have done differently myself in this situation. And I personally would have gone further down the coast here, as he is now doing. I wouldn't have stopped for those shots on the way. I would have gone right up and tried to go into the side. So now there we are, one into the gun crew there, and now he can't quite hit the driver. The driver is hidden behind that post, so he sets the tank on fire. Here's where I think he could have done this a bit quicker. The crew, as you can see in the X-ray, is back in the rear half of the vehicle, and so one more shot there would have finished it. Instead, he's going for more fires. Now that's where I would have done it a bit differently. Just alternate back and forth between the fire and the crew to try and knock it out as quickly as possible. But it doesn't matter. The tank is down and he's now turning to go back to the A gap, which the enemy have taken while he was on that push. So it's a good start. It's one quite scary tank down. Although his team is taking a little bit of a beating around the cap. And there's only him and the SU-100P down here by the A cap now. So it's pushing in full speed. I think here he gets slightly lucky. Now where he hit there, it looks like the M47 was missing some of his crew. But I think at that speed he's possibly lucky to have hit and killed. That could have been costly. I'm assuming that Panther didn't know that the opponent was lacking on several crew and just sort of made a panic shot. It could have gone very differently for him right there. But regardless of how it could have gone, it's worked out in his favour, and he's now on the cap. You can just about hear the engine, or you may not be able to over me talking. Here comes the Ontos, missed with the main cannon, and then did something very good, which I don't know if it was intentional or accidental, in simply an attempt to get away from the Ontos, but he drove up and angled his tank down using the rubble, which allowed him to subvert the minimum range on the ATGM and take out the Ontos with the double tap. It is a really smart way to use the ATGM on these smaller maps. Now he's capped, he's sitting on the point waiting for the ATGM ammo to refill, and he's just got a nice line of sight around that corner. So here comes an M46, filled up on his ATGMs now. Rather poor first shot, but before the M46 can aim to work out what shot him, he's fired an ATGM and knocked out the gun breech and the gunner. finishing it with another round from the main cannon. So again, the double tap shot there, quickly using the ATGM to follow up when his first shot doesn't quite get the job done. Now that's, again, one of the failings that I had when I used the BMP. It's not a particular favourite vehicle of mine, but I tended to use the ATGM for more of a long range tool and the main cannon at short range. It's still sitting on the cap. There's an M42 coming in, again, can see it around the corner. Pulls forward, turns around, and gets the hull break shot. I'm quite surprised the M42 didn't see him there as it came around the corner. He didn't seem to be aiming at him. Potentially quite lucky, but either way, that's up to 5 kills now. And he's just sitting and guarding the A point. Obviously expecting something to be coming back down those tracks, although there is nothing yet. He's had a really good start to the game so far. Now, based on how he's been playing so far, I am assuming that he was intending to sit on this cap and defend it for the majority of the game, but something did just shoot at the Tiger 2 there, so he peeks out, has a look. You can see this T-29. It's a good first shot, takes out 2 of the crew and the breach. T-29's not really got too much you can do about that. So move up and put another shot in for the finish. Another really lucky moment for him. This M56, I think, chose to fire fully on the move. Not to take anything away from him, he is having a fantastic game. It's already up to 7 kills and he's playing the tank fully to its strengths here. He's certainly using it better than I tended to do. I didn't really get on with the BMP very well, but I can't deny there's been some good luck in here. I think virtually all good games are always going to have some luck in it, whether it's just luck of the enemy's shots or luck of when you run into people. There's always going to be some. Now the Tiger 2 got killed by an STA and he's chosen a good spot to wait for it. You can see he's got an angle around the corner, but he's taking care not to have his front hull sticking out around it himself. There goes the STA, so move up behind him and get a shot into the rear of that turret. It's worth noting that since the ready rack changes a couple of patches ago, the rear of the STA turret is now actually full of ammo as well, so a little bit higher would have probably given him a second opportunity through the ammo rack. But that's pretty much the A cap clear at this stage as far as he's aware. So again, stop on the corner. There goes an M16. Did see him. The BMP doesn't have particularly great armor, but it is enough to resist a 50 cal from the front thanks to the sheer angle of it. And so that's kill number 9. Almost hit by that artillery. That was very close. There goes Type 61. Managed to get the track, but it slid out of view. That moment there where he fires the ATGM down into the bush, that's why I'm assuming at the start of the battle that his ATGM was more of a speculative shot rather than knowing exactly where the opponent was. It's probably not something I myself would do. I've already said that I prefer to use the ATGMs for long range tools, but more so than that, knowing I've only got 4 of them at my disposal, I prefer not to use them with anything that I don't think is a guarantee. Although I never played the BMP long enough to get to the upgraded ATGM, so I'm sure Panther himself has had a lot more practice in that regard and feels a lot more confident with using them. There's the Type 61 though. ATGM right through the front. And kill number 10. In the meantime though, his team has managed to lose the C and B points. So he's starting to head on up there. I think it's the right decision at this stage. They're far ahead on tickets. They've got players dying as they leave the northern spawn, but if they want to win, they are going to need a second cap. So push up to the B point, try and do it safely, move up just behind this breakable wall so that you can see over the top. Of course, we can see the Ontos quite clearly thanks to the marker. He can't until he gets a bit closer. Obviously the Ontos didn't see him either, but there we go. Move in and the hull break thanks to the I believe it's almost an RPG is the main cannon round for this. Functions as heat though, heat grenade, so it's a hull break shot. Gets the decap and move on. Whether he's going north to try and hunt down the spawn campers or he's simply suspecting there is something else around the cap, I don't know. But as it turns out, he is now behind a T-32. Again, probably not my first choice there, trying to fire on the move. It very almost went over the top of the T-32. But it paid off. He managed to knock out the gun and then follow it up with the kill shot afterwards. Well, again though, if you see, he used it as a double tap. Main cannon to the side of the turret, main cannon into the engine, and then because it was still alive, fired the ATGM afterwards. I myself would have held that shot for longer, the follow-up. I would have waited for the reload and then used my main cannon round, but it's clearly working for him and I can't fault it. Speed is always important. Time isn't really a luxury you can always take advantage of. It's one reason why I always deem APHE rounds to be the far superior regardless of any other factors involved. Whether AP is good or not, the quicker you can dispatch an enemy the better, because there's always a chance someone else will come along, and so in that respect using the ATGM as a quick follow-up is really going to help. Now the armour might be strong enough to resist a 50 cal, it's not going to resist the M19. I'm a little surprised he didn't see it there. It wasn't particularly well hidden, but we all have those moments where we don't notice something because we're just so focused around our crosshair. That's 12 kills, a real shame to end the run like that. But fantastic play. I don't think I would have achieved anything like that in the BMP myself. It does make me want to go back and revisit it a little, although I did not enjoy it on that first run through, and it's far from in the upgraded condition for me to feel comfortable with the ATGM. But we've respawned now into an IS-3, heading back to the A point. It's well spotted on that M41 there. I don't really think I had noticed him myself when I tried watching this without the markers. His team's managed to get the C point in the meantime, and there's not too many tickets left, so if you can get hold of A, then it should be a win. Good game, very well played. There wasn't really anything that I could find to fault him on. I think he made a lot of good decisions. As said, I would have probably used the ATGM a little less myself, but in the end it's definitely been the right move for him to kill the opponents as quickly as possible. Especially in the cases where the enemy still had a gun to fire at him, it was important to knock them out quick. I do wonder about whether some of those moments, such as driving up onto the rubble to point the missile down, were intentional or accidental, but regardless of which one it was, it worked wonders for him. It kept him alive, it kept him in the game, and allowed him to win. Now that is the end there. If anybody does have a replay they're very proud of, I can't promise to look at all of them, but feel free to send it to me on the Discord. And in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time.